Yeah.
That's not even
Her beauty's
movie.
crazy. I know, we'll talk. Recently, not actually recently, like maybe a year or two ago, there was like a minor trend on TikTok of people going, more than a crush, more than a like, more than a love, and like something about seeing what your mouth does when you say more than a like or something. I don't know. It was weird because I don't think people knew that song was from Let It Shine.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's not really the most well-remembered film, but people are fans of it. People remember it.
I didn't watch it as a kid.
This is a better opening idea than what I had.
What were you going to do?
I was just going to say, all right, time for us to do a rap battle. All right, Kelsey's up first.
Me and Benji sitting at a table talking about DCOMs. Yo, we're able-bodied. What?
I feel like that got bad in a way I was not expecting it to get bad. Why are you bragging about not being disabled?
You didn't let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're able-bodied. And we're gonna body this podcast talking about Let It Shine.
That didn't even rhyme. That made it worse.
Start the podcast.
Thank God I didn't have to rap.
Welcome, everybody, to the DCOM Duo podcast.
I'm Benji.
I'm Kelsey.
Yeah, she's Kelsey.
And we're the DCOM Duo.
I wanted to see what you do if I mix it up there.
The DCOM Duo podcast.
Yeah.
We ain't no quitters.
That's a different rap battle from a different DCOM.
Roxy, I'm sorry.
And let me tell you, the rapping in this film, much better.
It is much better.
And it's mainly about how bad Adventure and Babysitting's rap is, because I don't think this rap is necessarily that great.
No, they got flow.
From Progressive?
No. If you haven't figured it out, this week we're talking about Let It Shine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We hadn't mentioned that yet, had we?
It's about time we're talking about this movie. This movie's great.
Yeah.
I've been kind of waiting for this one.
This is one that Kelsey kind of has been eyeing since we started the podcast. This is going to be a fun one to talk about.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one that is under-discussed versus cultural impact. I feel like it's a musical. We both like musicals and think they're very fun to discuss. There's a lot of interesting aspects behind it. The cast is shockingly star-studded.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah, just a lot to say.
Yeah, no, a lot to say.
And it's generically pretty good.
It's good. I talked about this in the cold open, but I had not seen this movie before watching every single Disney Channel movie. I did not watch this as a kid. I feel like I didn't even really know it existed.
I didn't know this existed until we started this.
Which is a shame, because I was young enough, I think, to like know about it. I didn't. Yeah, I was like 12 or 13. Like, I don't know. Maybe I had outgrown it a little bit, but it's a shame I didn't see this when I was younger, because I feel like I would have liked it. I like it now. So I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Let It Shine. If you're new to this podcast, hi, welcome.
Hi.
We talk about a DCOM. We start by talking about all the people who worked on it. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about the movie.
And we talk about the movie. We go through the whole movie, probably more than anyone wants, but we do.
But first, we talk about fan mail.
We don't have
any fan mail. It's okay. If you ever want to reach out to us with fan mail, please do so at thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. All right.
Now we'll get into the factos.
The DCOM Duo factos.
Yes, I did the factos today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be longer because that's how it tends to be.
I don't know. I tend to write some pretty long factos too.
This film released June 15th, 2012.
2012? Everything happened in 2012?
The 90th DCOM.
That is surprisingly a lot. Maybe it's not it shouldn't be surprising.
I mean, it's not a normal distribution or like an even distribution of DCOMs. It's so weighted towards the beginning. Like 99, 2000, 2001 had like a DCOM every month.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And otherwise now DCOMs,
they're pretty like rare now.
A year.
Yeah, they're pretty rare now.
Yeah. The director is Paul Hone. We have talked about him before. He is a DCOM legend for directing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of DCOMs he's directed. Oh boy, that's a lot.
He directed Luck of the Irish, True Confessions, You Wish, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, Read It and Weep, Jump In. That's where we talked about him before. Cheetah Girls One World, Dad Now, Camp Rock 2, Cloud 9, How to Build a Better Boy, Invisible Sister. We also talked about him there. And all 4 of the Zombies films.
Zombies 4 hasn't come out yet.
4 hasn't come out yet.
He is
directing it.
Wow. Honestly, I know there's some bad ones in here, but a lot of them are pretty good.
I would say it's an above average hit rate, but nothing too special. And
I mean, he did all the Zombies.
And arguably, he's never had like a goated film. That's maybe where his like flaw would be. Every one of his films that I do like, I still have problems with. Or it's like Jump In, where I just think the positives aren't high enough when it's like has no real negatives. Speaking of Jump In, he won a Directors Guild Award for that and also for this film. So now we've covered it officially with the 2 that he's like most well received for.
They're both good films, and they feel similar. And I don't know if it's because it's about predominantly Black community.
They're more Black stories.
Yeah. I don't know. These are better movies than a lot of the other ones he's directed. So he's better at those kinds of stories, I guess.
I feel like there's something tying a lot of these films together, but also some just do not land. It's an interesting list of all of them. Yeah. Beyond that, he's done a bunch of kids television, both as a producer and as a director. Like one, for example, is he's done a bunch of the episodes of Andy Mack, just another Disney Channel. But I decided we talked about him enough in the previous time.
And we will talk about him more.
Even more. We've barely dipped into him when he is like almost 10% of the DCOMs.
We've done surprisingly little of his movies. We've done 2.
He's this is over 10% of the DCOMs.
Oh my god. And we've only done 2. This is our 3rd.
No, this is our 3rd, yes.
Yeah, thank you. I was right.
All right, for the cast, starring as Cyrus/Truth, the real Truth, is Tyler James Williams.
Yay!
Yeah, I have a lot to say. First, I thought it was surprising. He started very young as acting. That part's not that surprising, but he was on SNL, Sesame Street, and Little Bill as like a very young kid.
Oh, cool.
Just in spot roles. He got his real break with Everybody Hates Chris, where he played Chris Rock.
It's gotta be what he's best known for.
That is, to this day, I would argue what he is best known for. He was the lead of the film version of Dear White People, which is like a very critically acclaimed film. Like, I've heard a lot of discussion about it before. I've never seen it myself. He was the main role in Criminal Minds Beyond Borders. So he was on that side of TV for a bit, but now has recently re-entered the public eye a bunch more, winning a bunch of awards. Along with all those other award roles, he's won a bunch of awards. But right now, he's hot as Gregory Eddy in Abbott Elementary. Probably the second biggest role in the show.
Yeah,
I would say he's character number 2.
He's huge in that show, and he does such a good job. It's a great show.
I think he is a very good actor. I think genuinely he might be the best facial actor I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's where he really shines.
I feel like I can't speak too much about the rest of his acting skill, but he can make these incredible facial expressions that make you laugh. He does it all the time. I just feel like that's his whole gimmick, and I'm cool with it.
He's very good at that kind of like a little bit awkward, but kind of like dry humor, where he's just like being kind of a normal guy, but in a way that's funny. Like, it's hard to explain.
I feel like casting him in Abbott Elementary makes a lot of sense because that's in the mockumentary style. And that really helps out a lot because I feel like it's very much type of humor where just a subtle glance is the whole punchline.
Yeah.
And he's very good at delivering those. Mm-hmm. And that works in this film too. I think he's a good actor. Not much more to say about it. Mm-hmm. Playing the role of Roxy is Coco Jones. Coco Jones got her big break actually on Radio Disney. She was the runner-up of the Radio Disney show, The Next Big Thing. That got her foot in the door with Disney.
I remember as a kid always wanting to listen to Radio Disney. It was very rare that I actually got to, but I always thought it was
I don't remember
cool.
ever listening to Radio Disney.
It was so cool. It was the coolest thing ever. So that's cool.
She had recurring roles in So Random and Good Luck Charlie, but other than this, has not really done that much else acting-wise, other than really recently in 2022. She got a part of the main cast in Bel-Air, which is the remake, the serious remake, like the non-sitcom remake of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
It's an interesting take on the show.
It is like a popular show. It's one of Peacock's few shows that are like big. Yeah. So that's all I have not seen it. I don't know too much about that. Recently, though, even more, she's really had a breakthrough in her music.
Yes.
She's become like a genuinely big deal in the music world. Not like top in the charts or anything, but very much like the underground artist that a lot of people in the buzz.
Yeah, isn't she up for Best New Artist?
She was last year.
Last year, okay.
Yeah, she lost it last year.
Okay. Bummer.
But
I just saw her, she sang the national anthem.
I think it was the Chiefs versus Ravens, the opening game to the NFL season.
Oh, okay. It was.
I think so.
It was great. She did great.
Yeah, she's definitely like put herself back up there after a lot of time kind of out of the spotlight, where she just kept grinding to get back in it. So good for her.
Good for her. She's very
talented. I feel like this is a very talented cast overall.
It is.
Again, it's star-studded, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Playing the role of Chris is Trevor Jackson. He actually got his start in show business as playing young Simba in the touring version of the Broadway show of The Lion King.
Fun.
Who's a very important character.
Yeah.
That's your main cast member for the first half of the film.
Yeah.
So that's something. He was also a main role on Grownish. That's the Blackish spinoff that ran for like 5 seasons. And he's had a moderately successful R&B career. Nothing too big or anything, but like genuine success within the industry.
Wait, he's musically talented in real life?
Yeah. I mean, you saw him dance in this film.
Yeah, he's really
very good at dancing.
But they made a point that he's not good at rapping, but obviously it's just the script.
Yeah. Playing the role of Lord of Doubling. You never get a name other than Lord of Doubling.
Lord of Doubling.
Yep. Is Brandon Michael Smith. He's had Disney Channel roles in Phil of the Future, Sunny with a Chance, and So Random.
I didn't know he was in Phil of the Future.
Neither did I. I thought that was interesting. He was also in a DCOM. He was in Starstruck. He was Stubby.
Yes, he was Stubby. He rapped in that.
He won a Young Artist Award for the made-for-TV TNT film The Ron Clark Story.
Okay.
Do you know who Ron Clark is?
No.
Well, he was on Survivor Edge of Extinction, which you just watched. I told you he was famous for being a teacher, and I finally remembered why. It's because that movie exists.
Okay.
He was played by Matthew Perry. That's your random tangent of the episode. And recently, Brandon Michael Smith voiced Michelangelo in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was the Ninja Turtles iteration right before the current one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they cycled them out. They got the new kids in there now.
Well, the current one is good. The current cycle. We saw the movie. It was really good.
Yeah, there's a show out now.
Yeah. No, I've seen the commercials for it. It looks good.
Playing Gail, which is the mom, is Dawn Lewis, who we've actually already talked about. She was also the mom in Proof Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So multiple DCOMs in there. She has a ton of voice acting credits. I'm going to skim through her quick because we've already talked about her. She was in a bunch of sitcoms in the 80s and 90s, a bunch of other credits.
Cool.
Playing Levi, the club owner.
Yes, the club owner.
Is Alex Desert.
He is in a lot of DCOMs, guys.
Actually, he is only in one other DCOM.
No way.
He's in Freaky Friday.
No, he's in more. Wasn't he in Invisible Sister? I'm looking him up.
You can look him up. I was scanning through stuff. I could be wrong.
I could have sworn we've seen him in more than just one other DCOM. Invisible Sister.
Okay.
Confirmed. Boy Meets World. That's kind of fun. All right, maybe a lot was exaggerating, but I knew he was in multiple. He's in Invisible Sister and Freaky Friday. So, boom.
All right.
Schooled ya.
He's probably best known as being part of the main cast of Becker, which is an old sitcom.
Okay.
A lot of TV acting. He's done a lot of voice acting in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Like recently, he's taken over a couple roles in The Simpsons from Hank Azaria after he's done with the show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now Carl Carlson and Lou in that. Yeah.
Cool.
Lila, the stage mom, the manager.
The aunt of Coco Jones. Roxy.
Was Nicole Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
She was a part of the main cast of King of Queens. That's probably what she's best known for. I forget King of Queens exists, and I've seen multiple episodes of the show. That's the Kevin James sitcom. She's also Shigo in Kim Possible.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the animated Kim Possible.
Yeah, the animated.
I think that means she's in another DCOM because I think
she's in So the Drama.
So the Drama.
I'm looking at her credits. Yeah, she is.
Okay. She's a part of the main cast for Mad TV. That was a sketch TV comedy series. So that's where she got pretty big. She had a recurring role in Blackish as well, and also has hundreds of episodes of voice acting work on very famous TV shows. Like, she has a lot of credits in there. I thought it was very funny as well that it kept writing about how she was the first ever winner of Celebrity Poker Showdown, beating some people who are much more famous than her. Funny. And she donated all of them winnings to a cat rescue group.
I can't believe you didn't mention that she's in 17 again with Zac Efron.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to mention.
Also, Meet the Robinsons. That's a Disney movie.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mostly the 17 again, because that's where I recognize her from, because I love that movie. It has Zac Efron, so of course I do.
Finally, playing the role of the dad, the pastor Jacob, is Courtney B. Vance.
Okay.
He has a lot of credits for a lot of different fields, like a lot of things I didn't want to mention, but he's pretty famous for all of that. He is a Tony winner and an Emmy winner, and he's been nominated for a Grammy. So, like,
whoa,
he is shockingly close to an EGOT status.
Yeah.
So, good for him. He's got a lot of credit. Some titles that he's in that he got good reviews for is People vs. O.J. Simpson, Isle of Dog, Fences, among many other things. Also, he's married to Angela Bassett, so he's less famous than his wife.
That's crazy. Angela Bassett did the thing.
Yeah.
He's Angela Bassett's husband?
He's
so cool.
Mr. Angela Bassett.
Mr. Bassett himself.
I hope he is a better person than he plays in this film.
Yeah, I hate his character.
At least his character is believable.
Yeah, and I think he does a good job acting.
I think that's something this film does well, is making everything shockingly believable, except the main conceit of the film, which, to be fair, is very hard to make seem believable.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a good job for like half of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some fun facts, some fun factos. This film is actually an adaptation of the 1897 play Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand. That is a very famous play that I know not too much about, but it's...
I don't either.
But it is something that has influenced culture many times. The names of all the main characters are based off of the named characters of the play. Cyrano's the main character of the play, so Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne, Roxy, and Christopher, Chris. So
actually surprisingly easy to translate those to modern names.
So, there. The play is about a gifted poet who has too big of a nose, and as such doesn't feel like he can profess his love for Roxanne.
He's just a poet.
Yeah. But Roxanne's in love with Christian. Christian is not pursuing her at all.
I thought you said it was Christopher.
It's
Christian?
It's Christian.
It's Christian.
I think I got the facts from one thing wrong and it said Christopher. It was Christian.
Christian. Okay. Yeah. So Roxy's in love with Christian.
Yeah. And Chris is for Christian. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Christian is just a womanizer who doesn't really care about Roxanne at all. Serrano writes love letters to Roxanne pretending to be Christian. There's a bunch of other plot points and stuff here, but it's a decently loose retelling, but like a lot of elements are kept the same. It's much closer to like a 1-to-1 than say Motocross was.
It's a very simple plot, but I bet this was like the first one to do it, and a lot of these plots are actually, the source kind of comes from this play of like pretending that someone else is doing the thing.
Yeah, it's influential for a lot of stuff. The play's been adapted many, many times throughout the years, both in stuff like Let It Shine, where it's like a partial adaptation, where it's like reimagined, and also just directly. Most recently was 2021 Serrano, that starred Peter Dinklage. And
that movie's been on my radar for a bit because I love Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
And isn't it a musical?
It is a musical.
Yeah, so it sounds like my kind of movie. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I probably should have watched it before we talked about Let It Shine, so I'd have a little more knowledge, but that's okay.
Yeah. The series premiere of... We're stopped talking about the play. Back to the movie. The series premiere of Gravity Falls followed this movie.
That's crazy.
It's always interesting. I like seeing what the follow-ups are.
I didn't realize how old Gravity Falls was. 2012?
Yeah. Gravity Falls is an extremely popular with our generation show that neither Kelsey nor I watched.
No.
And maybe we should at some point, because people are very fond of it to this day. Like, I feel like I see a lot of stuff online about it.
Surprised there's not a Gravity Falls movie, honestly.
They only did like 2 seasons because the creator just wanted to be done. He had his whole plot done, I'm pretty sure. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully there's a fan that can just go out and correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
Coco Jones revealed that in a like YouTube video she made in 2020 that they had a sequel written, but it was scrapped.
Sad.
Yeah. It was like a whole thing where I think they were talking about how she wasn't going to be marketable enough for the channel. It was like this whole sad thing.
I remember hearing about how like they kind of did her dirty.
Yeah.
Disney Channel did.
And then finally, Chloe X Halle, the band, and that's Chloe Bailey and Halle Bailey. They were members of this movie. They were part of the choir.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious from a modern day. It's funny because Halle Bailey's probably now the most famous person in this film.
She's pretty famous now. She was literally Ariel in the live action Little Mermaid. She was also in The Color Purple recently, the movie. So
she has
two big things that happened in like the last year.
Yeah. And I mean, the band that they're in is like not small. There's a lot to say about all that.
Yeah. And it was cool now watching this movie back and being like, oh my God, yeah, that is her little baby Halle and her sister Chloe. All right, you ready for the Disney Plus description?
Give me the Disney Plus description.
In Atlanta, Georgia, Cyrus DeBarge, Tyler James Williams, and his best friend, Chris McDuffie, Trevor Jackson, reunite with their childhood friend, teenage singing sensation Roxy Andrews, Coco Jones, whose music label is sponsoring a songwriting contest at a teen club. Cyrus, who writes music under the name Truth, crafts a heartfelt and contest-winning rhyme about Roxy, but to his dismay, his work is mistakenly attributed to Chris. Lacking the confidence to step forward, Cyrus stands by while Chris not only takes credit for the lyrics, but ultimately begins to win Roxy's heart, too. Now, it's up to the true poet to overcome self-doubt, seize the opportunity to reveal his authentic self, and pursue his dreams. I like that description.
It's completely adequate. It does the job.
I feel like it gets you kind of hooked into the movie, too.
And sometimes it's just like, well, that's the plot. And that's the plot. It doesn't spoil too much. There we go.
Yeah, cool. All right, you ready to jump into the movie?
I am so ready to Invisible Sister into the movie.
Because we've mentioned that one.
Yeah.
All right, so we open up on a song in a church, and Cyrus is playing the piano for the choir, and it starts out just pure gospel. You were divided, bam, 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 but then it picks up. bam, 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 and then it done. Oh, come make a joyful noise. And then they like do a little rap, and Cyrus's dad, who is the preacher,
he's the pastor.
He is not happy. No. And also we saw Halle Bailey. We're like, oh my god, there she is.
Yeah. She's not honestly that small of a role, but
she has a line. She does talk in this movie, and she sings. Yeah. So when the song is over, the dad's like, what the hell? And at home, he yells at Cyrus. And Cyrus like, come on, like, it was cool, whatever. And he's like, I want your talent to be for the Lord.
His dad hates rap music.
Yeah, and Cyrus says, well, that's why it was a gospel rap. And that's
this movie changed stuff. Gospel rap was like a thing. It's not because of this movie at all.
Yes, it is because of this movie.
But this movie paved the way. This movie walked so gospel rap could run.
Dad says, rap is the devil music. It doesn't matter if it's for the Lord. And Cyrus says, yes, sir.
What I'm going to say about this movie in its entirety would be so much more poignant if it was released like 15 years earlier. It would be kind of like cutting edge on a lot of the debates and having a lot of right opinions. It feels a bit late to the party in a lot of these because the whole conversation of the music is like the devil and everything, I feel, I might be wrong, really peaked like 15 years prior to 2012. Like late 90s, early thousands.
Or the 80s with Footloose.
Footloose is fictional, ain't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like how people were talking about how the Pokemon were the devil.
Oh, okay.
And things like that. If that feels similar to me, and people say the same thing about rap music. Not that people don't still think about that about rap music today. I just feel like the internet and everything, the culture spread has made it much harder to hate everything.
Well, Georgia is a little slow to catch up with the times.
I mean, I can't speak for Georgia.
All right. So then we see Cyrus on the phone with his friend Chris. He was like, what, Bling is rapping tonight? Man, I can't stand that guy. And then Cyrus comes up with some beats for the club. And he's like, all right, I'll see you there. And Chris is like, you have to sneak out to come here. And Cyrus is like, no, I don't have to sneak out. But he actually does have to sneak out. Yeah, because his dad would not approve. And he rides his little scooter away. One of those like ride-on scooters.
It's a little moped.
It's cute. So then at the club, Chris is trying to brag to some girls about his rap, but they don't really care. And then like Cyrus kind of comes up and they leave. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Cyrus, Chris's invisible friend since kindergarten. Nice to meet you. Like
this movie has an exposition problem. It's only in the first like 10 minutes where it's very much, hi person I've known forever. I'm this.
I've been your best friend since kindergarten.
It's a whole thing where good exposition is typically hard to notice. There's exceptions to every rule in cinema, but this one is noticeable bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Which is weird because, again, I feel like this movie is pretty well written generically. The dialogue, for the most part, works. And, like, there are some conceits that they have to make for the plot to work, but even most of them, I feel like they do well. This is a rare bad moment.
And then Cyrus talks about, he's like, oh, I don't care about those girls you're talking to. They're not real. I need a girl with substance. Like,
you talked to these girls for
he didn't even
5
talk
seconds.
To them. He didn't even talk to them. He's just fully judging them. Like, Cyrus, come on. It's kind of insulting. And then Cyrus hooks Chris up with the sick beats. And then he gets to work busting tables. Busing?
Busing.
Like a bus boy?
I think so.
Yeah, it's busing. He works at the club. All right, and then we get Levi. He's like the owner of the club. He's on stage. Welcome to Club Off the Street.
Woo! It's a club to keep the kids off the street.
Yeah.
Because we need an explanation for why kids would come to a rap club, but they're kids.
Yeah, it's like a club specifically for kids.
Which seems kind of cringe, but also they make it work.
And he's like, I mean, it's for off the street. It's to like kind of keep these kids behaving. At least they're like in a supervised place, I guess. I don't know. Time for rap battle. Lord of Da Bling is rapping. He's the evil one. And he mostly talks about how he has money and the other guy doesn't have money. And also
there's the bling.
Yeah, there's also a bunch of backup dancers, and it's like a whole ass production. They're going, the party's alright, the night's the night.
It's kind of weird that there's dancer stuff here because no other rap battle has anything like this. Yeah. I think it's just that they didn't want the first song. I guess it wasn't even the first song. The first song was in church. I don't get it.
And it's like a little fun thing. And then Chris does some fun dancing. He's a really good dancer.
This film is a bit weird on what songs are diegetic and what songs aren't diegetic. Even in this song itself, we get a part where Cyrus starts singing.
Yeah, so Cyrus in the middle of the song gets a tiny little mini rap verse about he's like, I should be rapping, but I'm out here bussing tables and I'm too shy. And it's like weird that this is like the only part of any song that's non-diegetic.
Well, there's some songs that are also like potentially non-diegetic, like the dancing and everything doesn't feel.
What dancing?
Like when Coco Jones later on, it looks like she's just filming a music video.
Okay. I mean, that could just be like, it cut to the music video or something. Yeah. Like that one was a little less weird because it is known that she is performing on stage.
Yeah.
But
it's just something where it doesn't really change the impact of anything too much. It's just this film does not always... It could have decided to be a purely diegetic film where all the singing was in person, except for like background tracks. Mm-hmm. But it decides not to, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so Bling wins the rap battle, and he is like undefeated. He's still the king of rap. I don't know. But one more thing, says Bling. I will take home the crown at the Rap Grand Slam this year.
Woo! Exposition.
And then so he's on stage. Everyone's like, yeah, you're going to win. And then he like looks over at Cyrus and they have this like stare down. And it's whoa.
It's weird because I believe we're supposed to believe these two haven't really interacted much before.
I don't know. It's like Bling already hates Cyrus. Yeah. And we don't have any explanation to why.
What the hell, Bling?
He's just a jerk. So then... we're like cut to a new scene. Bling is just hanging in the club and Cyrus accidentally spills some water on him. It looks like water, so less of a big deal, but he spills it and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And Bling's like, you better be sorry. You're lucky you didn't do it while I was spitting my hot rhymes.
Great. He is the type of acting that he does is not for the tone of seriousness. I feel like this film is. He's much more goofy acting.
Yeah, he's like the most unbelievable character here, just like how pure goofy evil he is.
Yeah, it's like he's a completely fine character. It feels like the wrong film.
He's just always like kind of yelling and is angry all the time.
It sounds like what he does on the Sunny with a Chance and stuff where it feels not like a sitcom but like a sketch comedy.
Yeah,
it feels like you're trying to make people laugh by your over the top performance.
Yeah. So he said I was spitting my hot rhymes, and Cyrus says it wasn't that hot.
Uh-oh.
He's like, you're a nerd, Cyrus, and he's like, whatever. Cyrus is like, you ain't all that with the rhymes, and then Bling goes up on stage and grabs a mic, and he's like, yo, everyone, this busboy, this nerd is trying to challenge me. And he's like, this is Urkel over here. And they all go, Urkel. And then instead of...
what a lasting impact Urkel has had on the culture.
I know. Instead of going on stage and rap battling Bling, Cyrus just walks away. Because he can't do it. So then Chris and Cyrus are walking home. And Chris is like, I know you can do it. Like, you're such a good rapper. Why didn't you go up there? And Cyrus is like, it's different when I'm writing alone in my room. Like, I can't do it on stage. And Chris is like, yes, you can do it. Just change, like, everything about you. And then you'll be straight.
Yeah.
Is he saying Cyrus shouldn't be gay?
No. That's just how terminology was.
I know.
Don't make a mountain out of this molehill.
I'm kidding.
I feel like Chris is interesting in this film because for the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of the film,
he's totally fine.
He is I feel really well written in terms of being believable that he would lead his friend astray in an evil way while kind of being roped along for everything. And in the middle, the most important part where it is, they just kind of drop that and make him just seem like pure evil.
And stupid.
Just like incompetent and not socially
He lets the fame get to his head.
But I feel like they don't do a good enough job justifying that.
Maybe.
My take is if there was writing improvement, it would be to make Chris more believable, but it's a really hard thing to do, and they do a good job at the bookend.
Yeah, honestly, like, truthfully, it's not that bad. No. Like, it
is completely get throughable. I just think this movie could have been better if he was done a bit better.
Yeah. Okay, so then they go into Cyrus's house. And we're like, is this the same night? Like, I think it is. Yeah. And I guess it makes enough sense that, like, his parents are probably asleep.
They get in their Z's.
Yeah. So they turn on the TV, and we see Roxy on the TV in an interview. And at the same time, they go, that's our girl. Man, we were in the 3rd grade together. She's pretty now.
Yeah. This is better exposition.
Yeah, but they're like, remember when we were all in the 3rd grade? The interviewer asked her about her outfit. And this whole movie, they're like, oh, look how scandalous, like scandally clad she's dressing. And it's just like sparkles.
This movie could have been better if it was not a DCOM. I don't know if I always feel that. I feel like you could make this almost word for word movie if you just allow this to be more explicitly about sex and drugs and things.
If she could dress a little bit sluttier.
If these could be the high school kids sneaking out to go to a club and party with like alcohol and stuff, there's so much more intrigue and interest.
If they could swear a little bit.
The father-son dynamic makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what this got pitched as at some point.
But then it's a DCOM.
And then it was a DCOM, so they had to like neuter it down.
They make the whole thing just like super wholesome. Yeah. Actually. And they're acting like, oh, look how she's dressing. And it's like, she's not showing really that much skin. Like her shoulders are showing. Yeah. And it's all blingy.
They're not going to, Disney's not going to do any risks on that. And I can't really blame them.
Yeah.
It's children's television at the end of the day. I just think this film could have shined more as like a PG-13 film.
Yeah. Roxy, they're like, you're working on a new project. And she's like, yeah, it's an amateur artist contest. An amateur artist gets to record their song and film a music video with my label. They just need to submit a track and a recent photo, and the winner will be announced on this TV show, which was like Ebb and Flow, I think was the TV show. Isn't it kind of interesting that you have to submit a picture?
I think it's because similar to what American Idol was in the beginning, a lot of pop stardom, whether you like it or not, is based on your image.
Yeah, they need to make sure they don't get an uggo. Probably need to make sure that it's a kid too.
Yeah, that's very true.
Roxy is like, oh, here's some advice. Just keep it real and right from the heart. And Cyrus is like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I'm going to enter that contest and I'm going to win. And Chris is like, I don't know about that because I'm going to submit, so I might win. They say, we'll see who has skill. And then they like dap ups, catch you later, bro. Like, but it was just a little friendly, like, oh, but I'm gonna win, haha, but we're friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we get a little montage of Cyrus writing, and it's playing his song in the background as he's writing it. And normally the song starts out with,
well, you can't say normally.
Okay, sorry.
Kelsey listens to all DCOM music. We like DCOMs. Sue us. You're this far into a podcast about a 2012 made-for-TV Disney Channel movie. You can't judge us.
Yeah. I made a huge Spotify playlist that has like every single song from all the Disney Channel original movies, like musicals, like their original songs. And so the whole soundtrack of Let It Shine is in that playlist. When I made that playlist, when we were watching all these DCOMs, my entire Spotify Wrapped was Disney Channel, and it was kind of embarrassing, but it's okay. So I know this soundtrack very well. When you listen to it on Spotify or probably like the CD or something, it starts out with yeah. Her beauty's crazy. I'll watch her photo crowd. So in the movie, they don't have the yes. It just starts on a beat. where are the yes? That's like my favorite part. I think it's so funny how it goes, yeah.
And this is not the only time this happens. There's one more critical moment. We'll talk about it later.
About a change from the CD to the movie. But what the heck? Why doesn't it have the yes? But yeah, her beauty's crazy. I watch her from the crowd. Her voice is so amazing. She makes her mama proud.
How do you feel about the song overall?
Yeah, it's called Don't Run Away. It's pretty catchy, not gonna lie.
I feel like it is below average for this film, generically.
Yeah, the film definitely has better songs.
And that's why I'm like, I kind of wish this one didn't win. I also was talking about during the film, this film, the production value on the song, which they show a lot of Cyrus doing the production. So I'm like totally cool with it plot-wise. The production's quite good. I feel like the rap, the lyrics, and the whole vibe of it is worse than the production. So if he won because of production, I would be cool with that. But it doesn't make sense for a company
to pick off of that
production when they're going to be doing the production.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is the one that goes, more than a crush, more than a like, more than a love. Baby, I'll make you mine, and I ain't giving up. Don't run away from the truth, because I'm not giving up on you. So get it, because he calls himself Truth. He comes up with this rap name like during this montage. He's like, I'm gonna call myself Truth, which is ironic. And I love in the montage, like you see him like he's writing. He also like goes to choir practice because he runs the church choir, blah, blah, blah. But in it, he's like sitting down with a notepad and he does that little like look up to the sky, thinking of lyrics and goes like, yeah, and writes it down. And in my mind, he's like writing, girl, you pterodactyl fly. Like, yeah, that's a good one.
Pterodactyl fly.
That's a real line in the song.
Yeah, this is a very silly, goofy song in a lot of ways.
Love it. So then he writes a submission for the contest. On it, he writes like, "Hey Roxy, remember me?" And he grabs a picture of him that has him and Chris in it. And he doesn't specify which one is him. And he doesn't write his real name. He writes Truth.
All of this, I feel like they do a shockingly good job setting up the whole event.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not that weird that he grabs a picture of both of them because it's probably one of the only physical pictures he has of himself. He just should have cut it.
Also, he could be like, she might remember us, you know? We went to school
Well, you
together.
didn't put your name on it anywhere, so how were they supposed to know which one sent it in? All right, so it's a new day. Cyrus is late for church and runs over. Dad is really sassy that he's late as he gives his sermon. And he talks about today's youth and how much they suck.
Oh my God, today's kids, can you hear me?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Harsh language and music and girls with short skirts and guys with their pants too low and rapping sucks.
We don't write about it here. The whole film, the entire time, they try and make this whole like connection of the rap lyrics and how they rhyme is similar to how him as a pastor is making all these rhyming things.
He kind of like
basically rapping, and like I kind of like it. I kind of like what they're going for here, but I feel it's a bit too on the nose.
Yeah, he goes G-O-D, G-O-D, like it's kind of a beat, and he likes to make little rhymes. Like, yeah, it is a little on the nose, but it's not like horrible. Yeah. I think overall this movie's well done, and we are like kind of
weird how much we're nitpicking it, but it's actually coming from a place where we're like, this movie was good. It could have been better.
Yeah, but
I feel like a lot of times we're like, the movie was bad and it could have been good. This is the closest one I think this director has had to having like an elite film.
Jumpin' was really good too.
Jumpin' was really good, but I have a hard time believing Jumpin' could get better than it is.
Yeah, this one could get better.
Like tapped itself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He also mentions that young women got to stop being video vixen and start being valedictorians, and young men gotta stop being gangsters and stop being graduates.
Yeah,
vixen to valedictorians is
video vixen and valedictorian is like very good rhyme. I feel like he was very proud of that one, and I'm like, you know what, you deserve some credit for that. I don't agree with the message, but I agree with the rhyme.
All right, so then we get to Roxy. She's listening to Cyrus's song, and she sees a picture. She's like, oh my gosh, I recognize these guys. Like, we were in school together. Her aunt Lila is like hiding a magazine, and she's like, come on, Lila, show me the magazine. And she sees a bad review, and it's saying that she's hiding her voice because she uses a voice coder.
A vocoder, yeah.
Yeah. Which she's like, everybody does it. Like, why are they picking on me?
Again, this is something where I feel like the whole discussion of vocoder and auto-tune use was already pretty tired in 2012.
Yeah.
People really, I feel like, stopped caring about it.
Especially with like the Black Eyed Peas. Like,
yeah. T-Pain already had a big career and everything.
Yeah.
Believe by Cher was a long time before that.
Yeah.
It's something where I feel like, again, if this film came out 15 years before, it would have been a good poignant message about like art can just be like what's in. You can follow trends and do stuff and still be an artist. There's intrigue and interest around that. I just feel like the discussion's kind of tired.
Yeah.
And I feel like today people just use auto-tune, vocoders, all that stuff as instruments rather than like cover-ups.
Lila's like, don't worry, you're just young and hot, all by design. Thank you very much. Like, she likes taking credit for it. Like, don't worry what they say. And Roxy's like, I just want a little respect. And Lila's like, hey, I love and respect you. And not just because I promised your dad I would take care of you. Like, the fucking exposition again. So this is the winner. Yep, this is the winner. His name is Truth, and his music actually says something.
No, it doesn't. I'm so mad about this.
More than like, a crush, more than a like.
Girl, you pterodactyl fly is not a deep lyric. Yeah.
I tried to send her flowers, but she has no address. Her home is in my heart. It's like she never left. It actually means something, Dutchie.
Yeah.
It means this is more than a crush. More than a like.
More than a love.
More than a love. Don't run away from the truth. So then the TV show comes to the club and they're looking for Truth, and the owner, who's Levi, he's like, who? And then they see Chris and they're like, oh my God, Chris, you're the winner. And he's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I submitted a song. I won. And he goes over to Cyrus, and Cyrus is like, oh, you won? Like, he's a little disappointed. He's like, I didn't even hear your song. And Chris is like, oh, that's just because I made the song last minute and just like chucked it in the mail. And then Roxy comes in and she hugs the boys. Chris, you look great. And Cyrus, you look the same.
Oof.
And Cyrus is like, oh, yeah, he's very awkward. He's like, you look great. It's
very Tyler James Williams.
Yeah.
It's his specialty of just being able to talk for 10 seconds and the whole time you're just going, you're inhaling through your teeth. Yeah. I don't know how well that picks up through the mic.
Roxy tells Chris that she loves the song and feels like maybe he wrote the song for her. And Chris is like, oh, yeah, girl, for sure. For sure.
I would like to point out through this whole time, Cyrus is like feeling confused, feel like he realizes this is his song, but I feel like he's not. The whole time, he doesn't realize it, but he feels like something's wrong.
Because he felt like his song was really good.
Yeah. And I'm like, maybe you should just support your friend. I know it's actually your song that won, but at this point, you have no reason to not believe.
Yeah. And then the crowd starts chanting Roxy's name. They're like, Roxy, Roxy. And she's like, all right, guess I'll sing.
Guess I'll do that.
Don't make me sing.
This movie, I'm also going to say this now because I don't want to forget it. Every time Roxy goes out, she can go out in public with zero paparazzi, zero issues or anything, while simultaneously being one of the biggest stars in music.
I don't even know if she's that big.
It's an interesting dichotomy. She's at least big enough where
she's like on magazines,
a headliner and stuff. Yeah. She's in the face of magazines. She's a big deal, to some people, and she has like no celebrity status at all throughout this movie. Mm-hmm. They just go, we're not going to worry about that aspect of the plot.
No. She's like, I totally wasn't planning to sing, but I guess I will. And then she gives this whole ass performance with like backup dancers, choreography, costumes.
Again, this is where it doesn't feel diegetic.
But like, that's kind of the point. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this when like clearly it was planned. Yeah. So she sings, that's what I said. Okay, here we go.
Those are the lyrics.
what I said. It's catchy. It's
I like
really
that
catchy.
one. That's one of my favorites from this.
Yeah, and Coco Jones is very talented.
She is.
After the song, Chris gets up. They're like, yeah, shout out to Truth. And Chris is like, huh? I'm not Truth. I'm Cool Chris. Cool Chris with a K.
They probably should have said his name at some point.
This is the first time they're saying his name. Yeah. And Cyrus is like, oh, I'm Truth.
Cyrus is like, it all makes sense. I don't have to be like, I'm happy for you, Chris.
Oh, I don't have to pretend anymore. It's me.
Chris had said at one point, I feel like we glossed over it, where Chris is like, oh yeah, I just gotta like rip.
I just chucked it in the mail. I just did it last second.
Did something last night.
Yeah.
So Cyrus is just like, I put so much effort in.
Yeah. And so Chris is like, oh, dang. Because Cyrus is like, I put in a picture of both of us, so they just assumed it was you, but actually it's me. And Chris is like, okay, I guess we gotta straighten this out. And then Bling just grabs the mic because of course he does. He's Bling. He's Bling.
He is over the top cartoonish.
And he's like, Chris is dumb. Truth, you stupid. And Roxy's like, this guy is lame. Truth is better than that. And Bling calls her a diva. And
is Bling just a mythical creature? Because he only talks in rhymes, and he tries to give you like little riddles to go past, because you got to speak his language for respect.
He does give little riddles, and he's like, he's the truth, but I'm not a believer.
I feel like he is an elementary school show character.
He's like Dora.
Yeah. He is a character of Dora.
Chris is like, hey, Cyrus, I'm going to go tell Roxy the truth. And then he leaves. And then Levi.
This is the point where Chris stops being like a reasonable character. He's like enjoying a lot of stuff here, but he's like, dang, that sucks that I actually lost. But hey, we got to go clear that up, obviously.
Yeah. Chris leaves and flips a switch off camera. Yeah. Levi comes over and he's like, hey, Cyrus. And Cyrus is like, oh, I won. Because Levi was like, it's weird that Chris won. He's not very good. And Cyrus is like, oh, no, it's me. I won. Guess they just picked Chris in the picture because he's tall. Yeah. And Levi says, that's messed up.
Yeah, he says that's messed up.
It's Tyler James Williams' delivery of it that's so funny. He's like, they just picked him because he's tall.
We're not professional actors. We can't recite lines back to you.
He's like, oh yeah, Chris is over there telling Roxy, I'll go over there. And then Cyrus goes over and he sees Chris like taking pictures with Roxy and she kisses him on the cheek. And Cyrus just like, what the fuck? And then Chris goes over and to talk to Cyrus and he's like, hey Cyrus, we've been boys for a while and I don't usually let like one woman tie me down.
He always calls girls honeys.
But Roxy, you know, she likes my flow, which is actually your flow, but she thinks I'm deep. And Cyrus is like, but you're not deep. And he's like, I know, but like Roxy doesn't know that. So like, you know, I just really want to see what like this could be between Roxy and me. So like, I don't know, you got to figure something out, Cyrus. And Cyrus is like, okay, well, she doesn't, like, she thinks that you're Truth. So I guess we can just have you pretend to be Truth still. Which, like, the way that this happens is so dumb.
They could have made this more reasonable and they didn't.
It's just Chris coming over and being like, yo, you know how I'm usually a womanizer? I'm actually gonna, like, let Roxy tie me down.
Yeah, even though you clearly like Roxy.
Yeah, even though you wrote that whole song for her. But, like, I think she might like me, even though it's purely because she thinks I'm you. But can we just pretend? And Cyrus is like, okay, sure. Like, he doesn't fight back at all.
I feel like it would have been way easier to just have the plot be more so, hey, I didn't get the chance to tell her. Like, we started getting interviews and stuff, and I didn't want to ruin your image and stuff. We'll tell her tomorrow when we meet up.
And then they just keep delaying it.
And they keep delaying it until it's like, at some point, it's like, I have feelings for her. If we bring this up, like, it's going to ruin all of our relationships.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened this fast.
Yeah.
But they got to get the movie going. Like, it's not that long a movie.
Again, this is a very hard thing to get right, and I don't think they got it right, but they did an admirable job.
But again, I forgive this movie because I think it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're like, Chris is like, but like, I'm not good at rapping like you. And Cyrus is like, well, I'll teach you my flow and we can pretend that like I'm your DJ so that I'll always be around. And so like, cool, let's do that. And then Roxy comes over and she's like, so we're going to record at the studio tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. And Chris is like, oh yeah, cool. And Cyrus is also going to be there because he's my DJ and he worked on the song.
Yeah. And I feel like that's such a good cover that they could have gone without the we're going to pretend to be each other yet.
Yeah. Cyrus is a little sad. So the next day at the studio, Chris and Cyrus show up. They talk about how Cyrus needs to record the song so that it sounds the same, like the same voice, because Chris doesn't sound like Cyrus. And Cyrus is like, well, maybe you can copy my style. You just got to feel it. All right, let's go right now. And Chris tries to rap and it's not very good.
He's not that good at rapping.
No,
he can dance and that's it.
He's so good at dancing.
He's a single threat. The actor himself is probably a triple threat. I don't have any real problems with his performance.
No.
But in character, he's a single threat.
Yeah. And Lila shows up and she's like, oh, everybody's late. And Chris is like, oh, everyone's late. They're not here. That's perfect. Because then like Cyrus can be there and no one knows. And so Chris is like, oh, well, Cyrus can just do everything. And Lila's not impressed that Cyrus will be the DJ. But then Cyrus is like, well, here, let me show you what I can do. And he starts using the equipment. And he's like, you know, you could wait for your guys or you could just have me do it, who's like half the price. Apparently he's trying to get half the money, which is good for him. I feel like he's actually doing it for free, but maybe he is trying to get paid for it. And Lila's like, okay, sure, you can do it, I guess. And so she leaves and they work on the recording by themselves. And Chris tries to rap alongside Cyrus, who's actually recording the song.
He's recording the music. He's doing the stuff. He's putting the switches and it goes. Honestly, again, they could have leaned so much more into the plot of Cyrus just being the producer man and showed his good production on the song and act like all of that intrigue, because they go for it a little bit. They show about like the influences later on. He gets in his music, but that's not the route that they want to go, and that's fine.
Yeah, so then Roxy shows up and Cyrus hides and she and Chris talk and she's like, did you really write that song about me? And he's like, come on, girl, what do you think? And she's like, I think this song's going to blow up and people are going to want another song since it's so good. Maybe we can record together. Ooh. And he's like, yeah, for sure. And she's like, well, freestyle something right now.
There was never any promise he was a freestyle artist. I want to point out.
Well, he should just say that. He's like, oh, I don't really do freestyle. I just write in my notebook.
He does this little verse about how he can't let one woman tie him down.
Yeah, he's like, you know, I got babes. I like women. I don't know. He does rap and it's bad. And then he's like, oh, I'm just playing with you. Ha ha ha. And Roxy's like, oh, come on. No, give me something real. And Cyrus, like, you see him, like, he's on the floor. He brings a microphone down from inside the studio and he's talking to Chris because Chris still has his headphones on.
This is a staple for all, like, things that are based on this play.
Is like him feeding him lions?
Yeah. That's like, this popularized that trope, the play from the 1800s of, it was just like someone speaking from across a balcony where someone's like feeding them the lines to say.
Uh-huh. So then Cyrus says all this lovey-dovey shit. He's like, look, I'd rather make you laugh, but
I'm too afraid to show you how I feel.
And I think you're so cool, whatever. I don't know. It's like poetic. And then Roxy takes a phone call and Chris is like, thanks, Cyrus. I think Roxy wants me to be on the next CD. And Cyrus is like, what? What do you mean she wants to be on the next CD? Like, that can't happen. And so they're in the studio and then she's on the outside of the studio. She's like, what are you doing in there? And Cyrus goes up to the mic instead of Chris, but it's dark. So you only see his silhouette. So she can't tell that it's Cyrus. And Cyrus is like, I want to talk to you from in here. And Roxy's like, but now you sound funny. Come out. Like, she doesn't recognize that it's Cyrus's voice at all.
I feel like she should recognize even more of the closing difference.
Yes, the height difference. There
is, like, darkness in there, so it's hiding the face. That's fine. But, like, they don't look like the same person.
Yeah. And Cyrus says, it's hard for me to tell you how I feel in person. Just let my words caress you.
This song is a little gross.
I like this song. So
this one always has given me the ick for whatever reason.
That's a shame. He hits play on his laptop and he starts singing "You Belong to Me."
The beat's good.
You want to know the truth? Check it out.
Also, how should I? Why does every song he write have the word truth in it?
Because he's truth.
I know, but I feel like that's a dumb gimmick. Just putting that out there.
It's really easy to put in anything.
Yeah, I know.
You want to know the truth? Check it out. How should I describe you? Sweeter than Godiva, so deep like a scuba diver. Oh, you're the passion in my life. You're the secret I can't hide. There will come a day I can't wait to say you belong to me, girl. And if I let you know tonight, it'll be alright, I bet. You don't know it yet, but baby, you belong to me. I like this song. I think it's better than Don't Run Away, personally. Mm-hmm. I think it's more romantic than...
It's probably more romantic.
Than Don't Run Away.
It's probably deeper.
It's deeper. Like a scuba diver. You kind of like the sun. Think about you till my day's done. I feel like Tyler James Williams did not sing that chorus. Maybe he is just that good of a singer. I don't know. But he definitely does the rap. I feel like they might have pulled some.
They also easily could have done some like auto-tune stuff on this because they do through this film, and I'm okay with it. They're explicitly it's a part of the whole show production.
Mm-hmm. So then Roxy's all smitten, and she says, "That was the most beautiful song I've ever heard."
Really?
I know. I feel like I want to look up something.
They talk about the Beatles after this. You've heard so many Beatles songs. How should I describe you? Sweeter than Godiva.
But your thoughts go deeper than a scuba diver. Whether you're in sweatpants or dressed in Prada, you could make me dizzy like a race car driver. That's the most beautiful song I've ever heard. Me, I could be in jeans and a hood because you're so fine. You make me look good. And she's like, I'm coming in to see you. Like, lucky for them, she says, I'm going to come inside now.
Yeah. Imagine all of this plot. There's so much plot convenience for some of this stuff. And so
they quickly switch spots, right? And Cyrus sneaks over to the other side. And he's like, you guys ready to go again? Before they can kiss. Which is good.
Yeah.
Let's go again. And she's like, oh, Cyrus, I didn't even see you there. And he's like, story of my life. Let's go again. So then it's a new day, I think. Cyrus runs over to the church choir practice. He lives right by the church, by the way. He's like walking distance of the church.
But he keeps being late for church anyways, even though his dad should be able to get him up because his dad works at the church and his mom goes to church, could wake him up. I don't know.
So the mom is running choir practice while he's gone, which is literally just her singing in front of the choir. It's funny. Great. And they're like trying to be like, are we supposed to sing? And she's just singing in front of them. It's so funny. And then Halle Bailey this is her speaking line. She says, hey Cyrus, could we spice up the song a little bit like we did for Joyful Noise? And Cyrus's dad is there. He goes and
dad doesn't like remixes.
Yeah. And Cyrus goes, nope, just the basics. Let's go. So then cut to Cyrus working on a song in the studio. He's back in the studio. And you actually hear the beat to Me and You, the little intro.
Yeah. They do the good trope of musicals of teasing the climax song throughout the film. It's mainly this one point, but I think there's another time when they tease it a little bit.
I don't know. Roxy hears it and comes in, and Cyrus is like, oh yeah, I'm working on this new song. It's a duet for you and Chris. And she goes, did Chris put you up to this? And Chris comes in. He's like, yeah, of course I put him up to writing a duet for us. Let's hear it.
It's like, oh, you need to do these changes that you already did. Good job.
Yeah, duh. Come on. And then Cyrus is like, so it starts out really soulful and then it comes in with the beat and blah, blah, blah. It fades. I don't know, music stuff. And it ends just like the Beatles. All you need is love. And Chris is like, yeah, just like I told you to yesterday. Finally, you listened. Ha ha ha. And Roxy's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's so awesome. I love the Beatles. And Chris is like, me too. They're my favorite group. And Roxy says, really? What's your favorite album? And Chris says, Greatest Hits?
Kelsey with Fleetwood Mac.
Stop it. Roxy kind of thinks he's like joking and just finds him cute. Okay, but like for real though, Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits is my favorite Fleetwood Mac album. It's like the one I want to listen to. I tried listening to Just Rumors once. It wasn't as good. Like I'm like, there's some songs missing that's not on Rumors. Like a lot of their hits are off Rumors because it's a great album, but like I like just the Greatest Hits.
Yeah. For Beatles, that would be like their number ones album.
Yeah, I have that on CD actually, where it's all their number one hits.
Which I feel like that's more viable of an answer, but also just pick a Beatles album. You can say literally any of them, and no one's gonna really be that mad at you.
You just say the Beatles, and they'll be like, "Do you mean the White Album?"
I was gonna say, I would just be like, the White Album,
the white one,
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. Do you know like any Beatles song? Like, isn't All You Need Is Love an album, or is that just a song?
I think that's just a song. I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like pretty much every Beatles album's named not after a song.
No, that's pretty accurate. Like Rubber Soul is
Soul.
Not a song. Help is an album though.
Help is an album. That is definitely an album, and that's also a song.
Did we say Abbey Road?
Pepper?
Sergeant Pepper. That's a song though.
Yeah, but it's also an album. Okay.
Yeah. Let It Go. Let it be.
Let it be, but I don't. That's not an album. I don't think
that's their last album.
It is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I am not a master of the Beatles knowledge. Ask me in 3 years when the Beatles cinematic universe takes off, and I'll be fine. So
what we said about they're all not named after a song, that's a lie. We came up with so many. So, okay. Revolver.
I would not have gotten that one.
I don't think that's a song. If the prompt was
name all the Beatles films all the Beatles albums, I don't know if I could get all of those.
Yeah. Okay. So later Lila comes in to talk with our three main characters. She says, "Good work, guys. Conrad, you did great." And he's like, "It's Cyrus." It's a thing that like she gets his name wrong. It happens like twice in the movie, so it's a running gag. And she goes, "And my future star Truth, let's update your wardrobe." And Chris is like, "Hell yeah, I love new clothes." Chris is very like in with Lila, I feel. They get each other. They get the movie is trying to do like pop selling out versus not selling out discussion. Which I think is a bit of a lame entire discussion. Yeah. But if we're going to have it, he's on the side of selling out. Yeah, he really wants to be famous. He's into like looking cool and acting cool. More than the whole music part. Yeah. And then she says, "The rap Grand Slam people are looking for a head act." And Chris is like, "Oh my God. Me? And I get to do it. No, you're not famous." Yeah, no, I'm talking about Roxy. And Roxy's like, "Oh, really? They usually go for more soul singers." And Chris says, "She means real singers." Just in person, right in the conversation, like, whoa, that's like, your girlfriend. Correcting her to her face. She means real singers. Yeah, as a diss. No, she meant soul singers. Like, she did nothing about what she said needed clarification. He's like, "No, guys, she meant real singers." And they just look at him and he's like, "Oh, no, I mean like real old school singers, not like new hot flashy singers like yourself." And I was like, I convinced them to let Roxy sing. Roxy is like, "I don't know, the audience isn't very forgiving. Like, they don't just care about fame. You actually need to be good." And Cyrus is like, "You will be good." And then Chris has some dancers come in for the video, and everyone's like, who are they? And he's like, they're my dancers. And then it fades.
I like to dance.
It's really weird that they're like, huh? And
how
then
did he hire these dancers? Where's his funds for all this?
I don't know. Maybe it's just his friends.
Maybe they do completely vibe right away.
Yeah,
but they're good at dancing when we see them dance. So they don't seem like nepotism hires.
So then Cyrus makes it to work at the club. He missed his shift last night, and he's like, "I'm sorry."
Levi's mad about it.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm sorry. I'm just in a really weird space right now." And Levi says this about Roxy, and Cyrus is like, "No." And Levi's like,
it's about Roxy.
It's about Roxy, I can tell. Did you tell her that your truth? And he's like, no, because Chris wants to be with her. And Levi says, well, then tell Chris to back off.
Jesus. He's got this adult vision on it. It's like, this is stupid.
This is stupid. You clearly like her. And she only likes him because she thinks he's you. Cyrus is like, no, he's my friend. And Levi's like, well, if that's your excuse to not man up because you're afraid of being rejected, you can't live like this forever, man. You won't tell your dad you work here because you won't approve. You freeze up when bling gets in your face and it's time to go on stage. And then you get tongue-tied when it comes to telling Roxy how you feel.
He's just being like, don't be nervous.
Stop being a little bitch. And Cyrus is like, but Chris is so cool and I'm not. I'm not good for Roxy. And Levi says, no. Just be yourself. Your truth.
It's good he has a positive male role model in his life.
I know.
His dad at this point hasn't been that bad.
He's pretty bad though.
But it gets much worse.
Yeah. He's like, your truth. Truth is a bad cat. He won the contest. He has skills. That's you.
Yeah, I feel like he is forgetting that.
He's like, how can you and Chris both call yourselves truth when it's all one big lie?
Good one. They really make all of the work about his name being truth. They do so much with it.
The writers really pat themselves on the back with naming him
multiple times.
Levi says, figure out what it is you want and then do something about it. I gotta go. Lock up when you leave. So then Cyrus is in the club by himself. By the way, no one was in the club. They were like
is setting it closed
up.
Or
yeah, they're like setting up for the night. I'm guessing it's only open at night.
Yeah.
So. And when Roxy
can pay rent.
when Roxy walks by later, she's like, what, they're open? Because they only open at night. Anyway, so Cyrus gets on stage and no one's in the club, and Guardian Angel starts playing. This is another song in the movie. It's really mostly a background song. You see Cyrus perform part of it.
I like this one.
This is a good one. So he performs as he's like working around the club. Subtitles say it's a female voice singing the chorus, but it's pretty obviously Coco Jones.
Yeah, I can't say that for an absolute fact, but
it sounds like her.
It's because it being Roxy in universe wouldn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
So why?
Unless he just fully sampled one of her songs.
Yeah.
But it goes, oh, this is who I am. I hope you understand. No, you won't be a guardian angel. And he's rapping. His raps are much better in this song than the other songs.
I think this is the best song in the film.
I disagree, but
there's
I think
the one coming up from Coco that's also awesome.
I think your opinion is valid though, because this is a good song. So I'm not gonna be like mad at you. I just personally disagree. But yeah. So on stage, he's like, pretending that he's being his true self as truth. And then in the middle of the song, we see Roxy get out of a limo and she's like, oh, of course he's late. And then she hears the song playing and she's like, what? They're open? And she goes inside and she sees Cyrus performing.
She walks in with no paparazzi, no.
Really, the doors
dropped from like a limo.
Yeah, he was dropped off in a limo and nobody cares. She goes in and she's like, Cyrus? And he's like, oh, huh? And she's like, I came here to meet Chris, but you were just rapping and you sound just like Chris. And Cyrus is like, no, I was just lip syncing.
Good cover.
Because I'm his biggest fan. And Roxy's like, well, hot damn.
I love when he's saying this because, again, he's very good at the facial acting of just being like, he's so mad at himself while saying it, where he's like, God damn, this is going to work.
Roxy's like, damn, you're really good at lip syncing. You might be the best lip singer I've ever seen. He's like, well, I love karaoke.
Which you don't lip sync in karaoke.
I know. Roxy's like, Chris is late. And oh, great. He's not even going to make it. Like he texted her or something. She's like, well, that's just perfect. The car dropped me off here and I'm starving. And Cyrus is like, well, I haven't eaten dinner. Maybe we can go together.
I love that somehow this guy who's too nervous to do anything decides, you know what? I'm going to ask her on a date while keeping up all these lies.
He does it so bad though. He's like, only if you want to. Like, if that's something that you would want to do, then maybe we could do it together. Like, yeah, you're right. He's dating her while keeping up the lies so that Chris can date her, even though he's doing a bad job at it.
Yep.
So then they ride. It's like a 2-second clip of them riding on his scooter. And I thought it was so funny.
His scooter's weird.
His little moped.
This film would have made more sense if you could allow these characters to be more of an adult.
Yeah. So then Cyrus compliments Roxy. They're like walking around and the magazines talk about her bling and whatnot and the vocal thing. He's like, I can tell that you're just doing all that stuff because it's in, but like you can sing a little bit. And she's like, a little bit? And he's like, yeah.
I can tell.
And Roxy's like, I have some special songs, but it's not what the general public wants.
It's just stuck in the suburbs again.
She is Jordan Cahill.
Yep.
Cyrus is like, I remember when you used to sing in church as kids, a little girl with a big voice, and I think you could do that again. So then it's nighttime, they're out eating dinner, it's raining, but they're on an umbrella. I don't know why this is a plot point, but they're like, oh, it's raining. And they talk about music, and Cyrus is like, I love all kinds of music, even opera. And Roxy's like, I like opera too. I like good voices.
And they talk about their favorite opera artists, and they're like, wow, they're geeking out with each other.
And Cyrus is like, I like being inspired by all kinds of music when I rap. And Roxy goes, huh? And he goes, oh, I mean, when I write for Chris. And she was like, oh, okay. It's
a good little comedic moment.
So funny.
Oh, this is stupid.
Huh? What? When you rap? I mean when I write for Chris. Oh, okay. She just buys it immediately. Roxy's kind of becoming smitten with him. And she's like, it's weird. It seems like we have more in common than Chris and I. And Cyrus is like, yeah, haha, that's really weird. So then later they're walking in the park and oh, look, a random rap battle. It's just some random dudes rapping with a small crowd around them. Although one of these rappers ends up being one of the finalists at the Grand Slam.
It's such a small little crowd. It's dumb. Also, this rapper is just worse than the guy he beats.
I know. Okay, so they start going, they're rap battling. The first guy is called like Avalanche or something. I don't remember. Something to do with snow because he's white.
Yeah.
Like
classic.
Blizzard or something. I don't remember. And the other guy is Revelation. We both thought the white guy did better, but the black guy wins. Should I cut that out?
I feel like you gotta leave that in. This is too funny. You gotta leave in the awkward silence after and then up laughing. Because it's just we can scooch by this part.
And then they're like, he's undefeated.
Ooh, Revelation, he's so good, and everyone loves him.
Hey, this guy's undefeated. Anybody want to face him? And Bling just comes from the shadows and he's like, I'm here. That's right.
Did you forget about me?
It's me.
I'm Lord of the Bling.
I'm Lord of the Bling and I'm here to rap battle. Oh, shit. Roxy? You're out of the town with the geek?
Wow. He's saying this to like an established pop star.
Yes.
Again, they walk up to a street rap battle.
The second
an established pop star who's charting, and he's like, "You with this nerd?
You with this fucking nerd?" Like
that's what his voice is like too.
He's immediately so mean to Roxy all the time, and Cyrus. Like at least Cyrus spilled a drink on him, so he has a little bit of a reason. But Roxy, he's just really mean to for no reason. And he bullies Cyrus, and so they just leave. And then as they're leaving, Cyrus like kind of invites her to come to church. So then we get a new day. It's church day. It's Sunday.
Oh my God, it's church day.
Oh my God, it's church day.
Everyone, let's go to church. Take me to church.
Take me to church. Roxy goes into church, and her outfit, this is kind of important to talk about her outfit. It's very bright, hot pink. It is very sparkly. But, like, again, no, like, real skin is showing. Like, she's wearing a skirt. Yeah. But that's something normal. Like, dresses are something normal to wear to church.
It's the fashion that's being weird, not, like, the scandal.
It's very flamboyant.
Yeah.
She comes in, and Cyrus is like, oh, my gosh, you're here. You need to come and sing the same song that you sang as a kid. And she's kind of taken off guard, but she sings a song. And she sings Good to Be Home. This is one of my favorite songs of the whole movie. This song is really good. So beautiful. It like makes me cry, her performing this song.
Neither of us, Kelsey or myself, are very religious people.
No.
This is very much a religious song.
Yeah.
And this is the type of religious song I really can get.
I like it. And a lot of it, though, is just about coming home.
Yeah. It's a very universal feeling, even though the home in this case is explicitly church.
Yeah, and it does say, like, I'm here to worship. Like, there is that religion, like, the themes to it.
Love.
Yeah, presence of his love. But it all works. To me, the song for this movie is so much more about her going back to her roots, going back to where she came from. This was her hometown, her home church. And she is singing the song that she used to sing. And it's so beautiful. She's got a great voice. And this is the kind of music, like more or less, like I don't think she wants to do religion music specifically, but it's closer to the kind of music that she wants to be doing, that she's not doing because she's doing what's popular right now. It is so beautiful. So if you're going to listen to any song, maybe not this one, but I love this one. Like if you want to hear a good performance of a song, and you want to hear a good Coco Jones performance from this movie, listen to this song. It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of important to notice that, like, Cyrus's mom is also there and is very supportive of Roxy and is loving this. Like, yeah. And Cyrus is very proud of her, and it's very good.
So she finishes her song to good applause.
Yes. And then the dad comes up.
Mr. Pastor.
Mr. Pastor. This part makes me so mad. Okay, let's get into it. This is what he says. As I look out amongst you all, I see many God-fearing, righteous souls, but a few of us have lost their way. Many of us were raised the right way, but many can't resist temptation. One day of praying won't erase all the years of betraying the goodness you was raised with. So you see, the church, we can be forgiving, but even our patience can get thin. You can't walk with the devil on Monday and then with the Lord on Sunday. You can't dance like a vixen and then ask God to do the fixin'.
You hear me?
You can't get all this made up and then don't want me to say, wake up. God knows who does their living in hypocrisy, or should I say hip-hop.
And this whole time they keep the camera off and on Roxy.
She is crying.
Showing her breaking down while this is all being said.
It is so horrible.
It is so bad. Again, we hate this man.
Oh my God. Like, how fucking dare he do this to her? She comes in and sings like the most beautiful song you've ever heard in your life about coming home in a place she feels safe. And then he makes a very pointed attack at her in front of everybody.
And there's no hiding it. What I'm amazed is that the congregation was like hearing it. They all heard
everyone is like, yeah, preach. Like, come on. So she is crying. She walks out of church. Yeah. Understandably. She is humiliated right now. It is horrible.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's kind of sad. Cyrus literally does nothing. But
he has a hard place to do something, and he's also very much not been a stand-up person this film.
Yeah, right now he doesn't know how to stand up to his dad. And also it would be hard to stop him in the middle of a sermon. So that night, Dad comes home and Mom's waiting on the porch. And he goes, well, that sermon went well today.
He really does just say that. He's walking home like,
he's like so proud of himself.
Some more sofa time.
Yeah, he says, I deserve a little extra sofa time. And then he sees that the sofa has a bunch of sheets on it. And the mom's like, I agree, dear. That's where you need to be because that's where you're going to be sleeping tonight. Get fucked.
We love the mom.
Love the mom. She says, that's where you're going to be sleeping after what you did to poor Roxy today, or Roxanne, they call her. And Dad's like, she's what's wrong with music today. Like, fuck you. And Mom's like, you look like a fool picking on her. And the dad says, have you seen her videos? He's like, well, I don't want to talk about this right now. And the mom's like, good, me neither. And she walks away. And so he has to sleep on the couch. And the next morning, his back hurts, which he deserves it. And Cyrus walks down and he's like, did you sleep on the sofa? And the dad's like, oh, no, I just fell asleep doing some work. And he's like, Cyrus, where are you going? And he's like, oh, I'm just running some errands. And then the mom comes down and she's like, oh, look, honey. In the paper, it says that Roxy is filming a music video, or Truth is filming a music video. I bet Roxy's going to be there. It's a great opportunity for you to go and apologize to her.
That's great. This also brings up a point I feel like has not been discussed so far, where the family has not reacted to Cyrus's best friend being selected as Truth to go and do all these songs and stuff.
Guess I don't really care. Like, it's not music, Cyrus that was picked.
The music that his dad hates.
Yeah. So now we're at the music video shoot. It's at the club. Chris
stuff's about to go down.
Yeah, Chris is all done up in style. He's wearing like a fedora and shit. Cyrus doesn't really like it. Lila calls him Cypress, which is kind of close to Cyrus. And then Roxy rolls up and Cyrus apologizes for his dad. So at least he apologizes to Roxy. He's like, hey, I'm really sorry what my dad did. Like, that was so wrong. And Roxy's like, it's okay. He's entitled to his opinion. And Cyrus goes, no, his opinion is wrong and unfair. And then Roxy goes and invites Chris. I thought it was to a museum, but I'm not sure it actually was. It might have just been to something else, kind of nerdy. And Chris is like, oh, but America's Funniest Home Videos is on tonight, so I'd rather watch that.
Man, you don't deserve any of this.
And then they go inside. Lila reveals that Chris gets to perform with Roxy at the Grand Slam rap battle. She's like, oh, but there's a rule that you can't lip sync. And Chris is like, no problem. And Cyrus's facial expressions are like,
yes, problem.
Yes, problem. What the fuck? And Lila also shows Roxy some huge like platform sparkly boots. And Roxy's like, no, I don't want to wear those. I'm going to break an ankle. And then Cyrus pulls Chris to the side and is like, dude, you can't perform live. And Chris is like, well, we're going to figure it out. Everybody loves me. You're not a hater, are you?
Is this also the plot of Cheetah Girls?
What do you mean? They don't lip sync in Cheetah Girls.
Not the lip syncing part, but like we don't want to dress up fashion wise and we want to move our music as it is, how it is. We don't want to sing all around the world.
all around the world.
Has DCOM's done this plot like 4 times? Wow, do they have like a pattern or something?
I mean, this is a little different because Chris literally can't perform any song live because it's not his voice.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
I'm more saying the Roxy
image
storyline.
The Roxy storyline, yes, has been done a lot. Yes. Anyway, Chris is like, you're not a hater, are you? Chris also says, Roxy's a great girl and all, but on tour, I'm gonna have lots of honeys. I can't be all tied down.
And that was the whole point.
That was the whole point. Cyrus is like, what? I thought you were serious about Roxy. And Chris is like, I am.
For now.
And Cyrus says, she's not like other girls. And Chris is like, hey, I like variety, man. And then he goes and talks to a bunch of other girls. So Chris is a jerk. He did this. He literally convinced Cyrus to do this so that he could like date Roxy, which was a stupid excuse, by the way, because you're starting your relationship on a lie. And then he's like, but actually, I like having me a variety of honeys.
Yeah, it's dumb. And this is where I again say the plot could have worked a bit better if they stretched it out a bit longer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, whatever. It's not that important.
So they start filming the music videos, and once again, the yas are cut out from the beginning, which is a crime.
It's your favorite part of the song, and it's the first 5 seconds.
Yeah. Chris performs, he's lip singing, and honestly, his dancing is so fun.
No, he's very good at dancing.
He's very good at dancing. The director is like, they get through the song or whatever, and the director's like, okay, your lip syncing's kind of off. Maybe I can zoom in a little more. And Chris is like, no, only go tighter when I'm not rapping.
What I don't get about this is the rap for Don't Run Away. It's not a hard rap at all. He absolutely can learn how to lip sync it. And it's not like he has to sing it because it's a music video. You don't sing in the music video.
Yeah. He just isn't even good at lip syncing.
Yeah. It's just, that's a skill he will need to learn. And I don't get why he can't.
But he's a really good dancer.
He's really good at dancing.
And the director, he's like, only zoom in when I'm not rapping and then zoom out when I am rapping. And the director goes, okay. Like, the director just listens to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Roxy is like, wow, Chris sounds better than he looks. And Cyrus is like, yup. And then Cyrus asks how things are with Chris. And Roxy's like, you know,
not great.
Not amazing. I feel like I can talk better with you. Roxy is like, am I even ready for Chris to be the girl he deserves?
Cyrus is like mad at him. He's like, Chris doesn't deserve you. Ah.
He's like, no. She's like, no, he deserves someone real. And Cyrus is like, please tell me you're kidding. Which, honestly, I can't believe she's saying this. And it's purely because of the lyrics. The lyrics of more than a crush, more than a like, more than a love. Girl, you pterodactyl fly.
I mean, if you called me pterodactyl fly, you'd have landed me sooner.
And then, Cyrus's dad shows up. And he's here to apologize to Roxy. He says, I am sorry for my behavior. My righteousness was sinful. Righteousness?
Well, we'll ignore it. He is genuinely trying to apologize.
Because his wife told him to.
Yeah. It's good that it happened.
Okay.
We don't have to fully forgive him or anything.
I don't. Roxy's like, it's okay. And Cyrus is like, what are you doing here? And then Levi comes in and he's like, oh, Cyrus, I need you to work. Oh. And Dad's like, you work here? And Cyrus is like, yeah, I do, but it's just part-time. The part that I'm not at church because that's my priority. And Dad's like, do you know how this makes me look? And Cyrus says, it's not about you, Dad. It's about the music and what I'm doing. And I'm good at it. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be disrespecting myself. And Dad says, we will continue this conversation in private. We're going home. And then he turns and Cyrus goes, no.
Stands up for himself.
It is such a good moment.
This is a great moment.
He just flat out says, no.
His dad turns out and goes, excuse me?
He goes, I'm not going. Levi needs me here. I have a job to do and it wouldn't be fair to him.
And the dad has to respect that.
He goes,
he's not saying like, you're not the boss of me or anything like that. It's no, it's like,
I have a responsibility. Yeah. I committed to working here and I can't leave Levi hanging. And Dad goes, oh, we'll deal with this later. Like, in terms of DCOMs and like the kid standing up to his parents, this is the best one.
Yeah,
I think it's the best one.
We need to sing praises to this movie because we do like this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's such a good moment. Like, it's his dad so deserves it too. Mm-hmm. Like, just standing up to him, just saying no, and his reasoning is so good.
It's so good. It's not what you expect it to be.
Yeah, and it's not like Jump In where
the dad doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, Izzy was just kind of like projecting his feelings in a way that like the dad didn't really deserve, but Izzy's a kid and this is like kind of how he was feeling on the inside. He was taking it out on his dad, and it was good that they had that breakthrough. But this one, it was just a firm like no, and his reasons for standing up to him, like what he tells dad, like I have a responsibility, is like so logical that his dad can't even argue with it. Like, he's not trying to hurt his dad's feelings. He's just standing up for him. Mm-hmm. Or standing up to him. So it's so good. It's like one of my favorite parts of the movie. So dad gets home and he's like talking to the mom and he's like, yeah, I apologize to Roxy, but Cyrus was there. And mom's like, oh no, you found out. And dad's like, you knew? He goes inside. We don't get any more explanation about how the mom knew that this was happening.
Could have just shared with it. The mom's cool.
The mom is cool. I bet Cyrus did just tell her because he feels like he can talk to his mom and not his dad.
Man, that seems like a healthy relationship.
Yeah. So that night, Cyrus gets home, mom's on the porch, and Cyrus is like, I think dad's upset. And the dad comes out.
Dad just pops out and he's like, you're right.
You're right, I am upset. Or I'm more than upset. I'm disappointed. And Cyrus goes, but dad, I'm a songwriter. And he goes, I don't care what you are. I don't care if Jesus himself told you to go get that job. He was testing you and you failed. Oof. And Cyrus asks his dad, just like, please read it. Like he hands him his notebook, like, please just read it. And the dad's like, no. You are forbidden from the club and you have to work only for the church. And Cyrus goes inside.
I would like to say if you ever get in a fight with a pastor, it's like, man, that's gotta hurt extra. You feel like you can't be in the moral righteousness.
Like ever.
Yeah.
And the mom's like, father, I don't know his name. Husband, he just wants to show you his songs. And the dad's like, what kind of songs? And the mom's like, does it matter? Your son wants to share a part of himself with you. Is it so important what genre of music it's in? Honestly.
Again, it's so dumb where the argument is just like, oh, it's rap music, so therefore it automatically is bad.
The mom is cool as hell.
Yeah.
She's like, it doesn't matter. Like he wants to show you who he truly is inside. Like you should be happy about that. All right, so then we get a montage. The song Who I'm Gonna Be plays. It's also clear this is Coco Jones singing. This is just treated purely as a background song. It goes, who I'm gonna be isn't up to you, it's up to me. Where I'm gonna go, I don't really know, it's a mystery. This is a good song too. Coco Jones, once again, very talented. The songs in this movie are good overall. So in the montage, Cyrus walks out of his house. He sees a taxi and it has an ad for Truth on it, which is Chris. And he's like rolling his eyes. And then he sees Bling come out because he's a taxi driver. And they lock eyes and it's really awkward. Because Bling acts like he has a lot of money.
But he's driving a taxi.
Driving a taxi cab.
This will come back.
Yeah,
Put a pin in it.
And then we see some girls chase after Chris on the street. Chris gets recognized on the street, but not Roxy.
Again, this is dumb. They show all these in the montage, like his Billboard charts. He's skyrocketing.
Yes, Don't Run Away is like number one.
That might be on like a specific local chart or something.
Yeah.
There's reasons where that could actually make legitimate sense. Because it's kind of dumb as well. It's not the type of song that's good enough to like really catch like fire.
Cyrus sees Chris on TV with Roxy. They're like doing an interview and he's all sad. And we also finally see the dad reading Cyrus's song lyrics. So then dad knocks on Cyrus's door and Cyrus like puts away what he was doing and grabs the Bible and he's like, oh, hey dad, I'm just reading the Old Testament. It's dope. Sup? And dad's like, please don't use dope and the Old Testament in the same sentence.
I get that.
Yeah. Someone's here to see you. And so Cyrus goes down and Roxy is there to see him. And she's like, hey, I just want to check on you.
Yeah, you kind of just like disappeared after all that.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm just trying to lay low. And then she asks to talk to him like on a walk. So they go out. Roxy complains about Bling making the final because he's a jerk. And then Cyrus is like, oh, how's it going with Chris? And she's like, it's not so good. I don't know how he writes amazing love songs and then he acts like someone else.
They keep saying these like pointed things where it's very clear it's scripted as a, man, how are you like two different people?
We don't really connect on a deep level. I wish we connected like you and I do, Cyrus. And Cyrus is like,
oh dear.
Yup. It's like
brother.
the third time this has happened, just like this. And then they show up to a record shop. Roxy plays an old song and they listen to it together and they're like, that's so old school. And Cyrus is like, you should do something with it, like record it. And she's like, no, the label wouldn't let me.
Samples cost money, you know?
He says, the whole world should hear your voice. You have a gift. Show them that you're the real deal. And Roxy's like, what about you, Mr. Lip Singer? Maybe you should turn on the mic. Okay, I gotta go. Chris is taking me to a jazz museum, which is definitely the coolest place he's taking me.
And this gets Cyrus going because at the beginning of the film, he says literally one of the first lines of the movie, he says to Chris just like, all I want is a girl to take to the jazz museum.
Yeah. And so Chris took his idea. And she goes, and Cyrus, thank you for being there for me. And then she leaves. That night, Cyrus is walking in the rain and his scooter is gone. I think it might have been stolen.
They forgot he had a scooter.
They don't really. Well, he looks for it and it's not there. And then later he looks for it again and it's not there. I think his.
Well, he also walked here apparently when.
Oh, true, maybe. I don't know what he was doing outside then in the rain.
He was just deciding if he wanted to go into the club or not.
Maybe
he wasn't. He was kind of grounded.
Yeah. Anyway, he goes into the club. Chris is talking with some girls, talking about how he's going to be rapping live. And Cyrus is like, hey, Chris, how was your date at the jazz museum? And Chris is like, chill, I'm talking with some ladies. And Cyrus is like, you don't have an original idea in your whole body, do you? He's like, what's your problem? My problem is that you're playing with Roxy's emotions. Chris is like, you're just a part of this lie as I am, okay? You're lying too.
Yeah, but like he gains more by it coming out.
I know. And Cyrus is like, well, I'm starting to forget. And Chris is like, we're in this together. I need you for the performance tomorrow. And Cyrus is like, you don't even feel the music. And you suck at rapping. It says, he doesn't say those exact words, but it's pretty much what he's saying. Mm-hmm. And Chris is like, you ain't nothing but a hater. You know what else? You're a punk. You're one of the best rappers I've ever heard. But you let Bling walk all over you. You're a wimp.
And honestly, right in that middle of the fight is where I think the switch flips back.
Oh, this is when Chris becomes a good person again?
I think he's a much better written character within this fight.
I do like the point where he's like, you are so talented and you don't do anything with it. And that's where
it's like, I'm doing this for the both of us so we can both have it. That's a much better angle to shift this from. That's not been the angle they've been pushing in the movie. Mm-hmm. And they kind of push that for the rest of the film where that's kind of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Chris makes a lot of sense from here on out.
Yes. Well, yeah, we're back to Chris being a good character. And they fight and Levi breaks it up. And Cyrus says, you're on your own tomorrow. Let everyone laugh at you. Whatever. So it did not end good. A new morning. Mom puts a newspaper about the show on Cyrus's bed. I don't know why she does this. Cyrus
like talk about it.
Cyrus, looks at a picture of him and Chris. And he's like, Mom, I'm Truth, not Chris.
And Mom's like, what?
So our headcanon is that Mom has no idea about any of this. Like, she doesn't know what truth means.
She doesn't know what the song contest or anything.
She just goes, what? And he goes, I don't know what to do. I really don't want to hurt Chris. And Mom's like, well, then what are you going to do? Like, her lines can be generic enough that she doesn't know what's happening. Yeah. All right, so now it's a new day. Cyrus is leaving, and the dad's like, going somewhere? And Cyrus is like, today is important for myself and my friend. I gotta do what I gotta do, so I'm heading out. Right now. Or maybe in like an hour or so. And Dad's like, I know about your show, and I've actually been reading your lyrics, and I actually enjoy them. Once I got past the fact that they're rap, I realized I've been focused too much on the type of music and not the topics. I like what you write about. You write about like honesty and stuff. I don't know what he said.
You write about the glory of God.
And he says, I'm sorry. The dad just says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Cyrus is happy and he hugs his dad.
And the dad is theoretically redeemed.
He is.
His crimes definitely outweigh his redemption, but at least it feels like a genuine attempt at connection.
It's good he took the time.
It's the right road.
Yeah, it's good he took the time to like read the lyrics and come to the conclusion on his own. Mm-hmm. It's not the worst redemption for a parent I've seen.
Oh, not at all. There is actual growth. It's just the problem is how negative it started.
Yeah, what he did to Roxy, I will never forgive.
It's bad.
It's really bad. The mom's happy too, and then she's like, all right, well, let's go. We're going to be late. The parents are going to go watch him.
He's like, yeah, can we come watch? And he was like,
okay,
sure.
Yeah, why not? So then at the like show kind of backstage, Roxy comes out wearing a ridiculous like bubble outfit and a pink wig and the big platforms. And she's like, I am not going to wear this. And Lila's like, you have to. And Roxy's like, no, I'm not hiding behind these gimmicks anymore. I want to be myself. And if that's not good enough, then I don't want to be a star. And Layla's like, you got to play the game. And I'm like the best coach ever. And Roxy's like, no, I don't love this. I'm going to be myself tonight.
Wow, she stood up for herself.
She did it.
Hooray. Everyone's standing up for themselves.
Yeah. And we see Chris is like held up puking in his room because he's all nervous. And then Cyrus shows up and he's like, yeah, you're here. And they hug. Chris is like, even after I was a dick, you're here for me. And Cyrus is like, yeah, we're old friends. And I also said some mean things. And Chris is like, no. I was the mean one. I was just jealous that I'm not really the truth. And I can never be you. And Cyrus is like, no way, I want it to be you.
Oh my God, this was really obvious.
The truth is, you deserve to be with Roxy. She really fell for you anyway. So what now? Cyrus is like, well, we got to make this right tonight. It's the only way. And then Bling walks by and he's talking like, shit. Oh, the fucking nerd.
The nerd and the truth.
And the truth. And Cyrus is like, you're stupid. And Chris is like, chill, man. Cyrus is like all ready to throw hands. And Chris is like, no, man, no.
Cyrus said, I'll punch you out.
Do what you came here to do. All right, so now it's time for the show. Welcome to the Rap Grand Slam final. We're down to the 2 finalists, Revelation and Lord of Doubling. Backstage,
we don't get to hear the rap battle between the two.
Well, it's not happening yet anyway because Roxy performs before it. Backstage, Cyrus is like looking for Roxy, and then he sees her wearing this really like simple, cute yellow dress. It's like really like a cardigan. It's like simple style, and he's like, "Whoa, you look different, better." Good. And she's like, "Thank you, yeah." I'm just going to be myself now. And now it's time for Roxy to go in. And, you know, she gets to perform before the rap battle. Here's Roxy in Truth. Woo! She comes out and it's Me and You. That's the song. So she comes out. You spinning round and round and round in my head. Hey, did you really mean the words that you said?
She has this big goofy smile on while she's doing it.
And everyone, the crowd is like, whoa, she's wearing different clothes. But then she like is performing and have this big goofy smile. And they're like, yeah,
let's
go, girl. And it's hard to explain her smile. We just think it's funny with like the tone of the song. It doesn't really work, but she's having a great time. So and Lila's like, she's gonna be a bigger star than I could have ever imagined. Wow. And then Chris is there and she's like, you ready to go on? But then Cyrus comes up behind him and he's like, yes, I am. And they hand him the mic and the fedora.
He's randomly wearing a fedora.
Because Chris wore the fedora.
Yeah.
That's true. And so Cyrus goes to get on stage and the dancers are like, are we going on or what? And Chris is like, nope, not today. I feel like this part is so unnecessary. We had to get conclusion on the dancers too. Apparently. So then Roxy's like, everybody welcome Truth. And she turns around and in the fog, Cyrus comes out with the fedora and he throws the fedora.
Yeah. He starts his rap.
I know the feelings that you thought you had before that other guy. Well, I'm that other guy. We love that line so much.
We quote that all the time.
We say that all the time. We say, was for that other guy, but I'm that other guy.
And he does this whole rap.
And he's rapping. And
it is theoretically a freestyle.
Yeah, he's got to be improvising this. It fits so specifically with their situation. And while he's rapping, she goes, oh. It's so good. But then she comes in, tell me, are you who I thought you were, or who you wanted me to be, or whatever. And like those lyrics also fit so specifically with this situation. So is she freestyling?
Maybe.
Did you do it all for him? Or were you only playing
I like the idea
me?
of if Cyrus wrote this song himself, he wrote his own rap such that her lines made sense with his confession.
He was like preparing for his confession.
Yeah, that's my take.
He says, I did it for you, but I couldn't see it through. Roxy, I'm sorry. You spin it around and around. And it goes in the chorus. And she's like singing at Cyrus and at Chris backstage. And it's so dramatic and it's so great. Good. Also,
I love this scene.
The scene is so well done and so good. The Roxy, I'm sorry, is very important to us because he says it later again. You got me on my knees. Roxy, I'm sorry.
It's like such a deep part of the chorus.
Yes.
Where he's just flat out apologizing.
This part, Roxy, I'm sorry, is not in the like soundtrack version of the song.
Which makes no sense.
It's so sad. We have to fill it in ourselves every single time because it's a part of the song. You can't say it's not part of the song. Roxy, I'm sorry. Bingo's mad about it too.
Yeah.
Roxy, I'm sorry. She doesn't care. She storms off the stage, and then he just also kind of leaves the stage. And
the MC comes out.
The audience is like, woo.
They're like, that song was pretty fire, but also that felt very like, not what it was supposed to be.
What's happening? Like, they don't get an explanation of, hey, this guy's actually true. I mean, they kind of get it from the song.
Yeah.
But, like, they're just watching this
Imagine
drama
you were at this event. That would be so fire.
It's so like, weird.
What drama is going on here?
That's not Truth.
I want to know this tea. Who is Truth?
Wait, but he sounds like Truth.
Oh,
what the
so
fuck?
Good. It would be so good.
It would be so good. Yeah, so the MC comes out and he's like, give it up for Roxy and Truth, or whatever that was.
It's like whoever that guy was. I don't know.
Who's ready for some rap?
Woo, let's get Lord of the Bling versus Revelation. I wonder if the one with screen time's gonna win.
Yeah, we don't get to see the rap battle. No. Don't worry, there'll be more rapping later, but we don't get to see this rap battle because we have to go backstage to Roxy running into her room. And the boys are there. Yeah. And Cyrus is like knocking on her door. He's like, come on, we were electric out there. Couldn't you feel that? Cyrus, that's not the right term. That's not what you need to be saying right now. Roxy comes out and slaps him.
I don't like the slap.
You don't like the slap?
I don't. I mean,
it's dramatic.
Feel like physical violence is not the right way to do this. It's kind of like pro assault in a weird way. Where it's like, because the film acts like she just deserves it. It's not a soft slap.
He's fine.
It's
for dramatic. It's for the dramatic. She says, I don't want to hear it. Get away from me. I'm such an idiot. And Cyrus says, no, I'm an idiot. I was too afraid to be myself. You wanted the hot guy. And Roxy's like, you thought I liked him because he's hot? No, I fell in love with the words. I just wanted someone who was real.
You didn't know me the whole time, I guess.
Yeah, but neither of you are real. So just stay away from me.
And the MC comes back and says, hey, you got to present the trophy.
And she's like, have Truth do it since it's his night. And so he hands the trophy to Truth.
So Truth is going to come out and give the trophy to who won.
Yep.
Do you guys think it was Revelation?
Boo! Is it Bling?
Yeah!
Yeah! Cyrus goes on stage to give the trophy, and Bling's like, oh, looky, the busboy brought me the trophy. And Cyrus is like, congrats. And Bling's like, oh, you're a nerd. I don't know what he says.
Oh, the nerd wants to agree you with the nerd.
He's just talking shit. And Cyrus is like, you know what? You don't deserve this. You're not the best rapper.
You're not the best one in the country, in the state, or in this building.
In this room. And he goes, is that a challenge? Yeah, it is a challenge.
Yeah, the answer just comes back. It's like, let's go.
He takes the trophy. He's like, yeah, let's fucking go. Everybody just decides that the winner of this rap gets the trophy.
Because why not?
Because it's dramatic and cool.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's bam, bam, bam. You want this rap battle? Bam, bam, bam. I don't know any of the rap.
Yeah. This is generic rap battle. I will say whoever goes second in this movie always wins the rap battle.
We don't know who went second in the rap battle between Bling and Revelation.
Yeah, and all the ones that we see, whoever went second wins.
True.
So Bling starts.
He's actually doing a really good job.
Here's the thing. Bling has 2 good verses with a lot of good blows. He definitely deserves to win.
He also raps longer than Cyrus does.
Yes. Cyrus's first verse is nothing like that good. He just rhymes like skedaddle.
He's like, you're the horse without the saddle and without the paddle. And like, he's just saying you suck at rapping, essentially.
But it's nothing like personal and direct, where basically all of Bling's is. And that's because one of them's a developed character and the other is not.
Yeah.
But also, Bling's just doing much better.
He's talking about how Cyrus is a loser who couldn't be his true self. And then in his second verse, the line I really like is, you had to sneak out just to clean and sweep. It's a good diss. And the dad, by the way, is in the crowd and he's really into it now. He's like, whoa! Like he's into it. It's funny.
But Cyrus gets the last verse.
Yeah, so Bling ends it kind of like, here's some money, buy yourself a better outfit. And he throws a bunch of cash at him. His whole thing is like, I have money, right? And he's Lord of the Bling. That's his whole thing. But then Cyrus like, you know what? You're a fraud. You are a taxi driver. You don't have money. You're fake. And he's like, go ahead with the trophy you don't deserve. I may be a busboy, but you just got served.
Got him.
And everyone's like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
He's poor? Actually? Fuck that guy.
The whole point is more that he's lying about being rich, but it really does feel like he's poor. He can't win.
And everybody loves it and Cyrus wins. So then it's a new day. Roxy's leaving for the airport in her limo. And Chris is like, wait, Roxy, I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Cyrus only did it for me. You assume that I was the rapper too. Like, you assume that it was me. So you're like, we're a little bit biased in this. And, you know, we were feeling each other. So Cyrus just wanted to help. And if you wanted real, like, it's you and Cyrus. That's what's real. And you know it too. And Roxy just leaves.
She pulls up her window of her limo. Drives away.
I love this movie. Just rented one limo.
It's like, we're into this limo. That's all she's gonna ride in.
Mm-hmm. So then Chris catches Cyrus and his parents on their way to church, and they all forgive Chris. And he's like, I'm gonna go to church too. And they all are gonna go to church. But then a limo pulls up. What?
Who could be in that limo? Oh my God.
You're right, Bingo. You're right, Bingo. It's Roxy.
No, it's Michelle Obama.
Yeah, Benji did say, Michelle Obama?
I feel like that would have been the funniest moment in DCOM history is they pranked and made you think it was going to be Roxy, but it was Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama comes out and she's like, I heard what you did, Cyrus. I really admire you.
Everyone should eat healthy. Stay active. Get 60 minutes of exercise every day.
Eat your vegetables. No, it's Roxy. And she comes up and she's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but we went to school together. And he's like, yeah, I'm Cyrus. I'm Roxy. And then they hug. They don't kiss, which I think is right.
They haven't worked up to a kiss.
It's better as a hug. And now it's time for church. They sing a little rap version of This Little Light of Mine. I'm gonna let it shine. And
you know, the classic church bop.
I know where I'm going. And Roxy sings and Cyrus raps and Chris dances.
Yeah.
And they all do it. And Cyrus's dad is proud of him now. And he got the girl. Freeze frame, the end. That's the end of the movie.
Well, we do get some bloopers.
Yeah, we get some bloopers in the credits, which is fun.
It's all of one scene.
Yeah, it's Lila just calling Cyrus different names, which I thought like all of these were better than what they were all funnier than what
they actually went with.
I liked Sinus.
Sinus was good. I feel like Cyclops was one.
Cyclops.
Cyclone.
So yeah, that's Let It Shine.
It was good. We don't let us talking negative about it like briefly all throughout this review dissuade you from realizing, no, it's a good movie.
We're being picky because we know this movie is good and it can be better, but it's a DCOM, and so that's kind of where it's at.
It's really, I think this one could have benefited by not being a DCOM. It could have been something that like really resonated for a lot of young adults, from like higher level teenagers, if they didn't shift their market to include like 8 to 12-year-olds, and instead focused on like put this on ABC Family, and honestly, you allowed to expand a bit more, get a little more adult with everything. Yeah, it'd be better.
So, final Jank House ranking for this movie is 24.
Which is quite good.
I thought it was really funny. We put it right in between Zombies 2 and Zombies. We're like, it's better than Zombies 1, but not as good as Zombies 2.
Which is very funny. All directed by the same person.
All the same director. Oh, and right below that is Zombies 3.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing that. So when people were like, no one has that strong, or people had strong opinions on which zombies are better, but it all canceled each other out.
It's so fun. Yeah. But yeah, Zombies, it's the whole franchise just has Let It Shine right in the middle of it. Benji, you have it at 25, which is pretty much the same space. Spot. I have it a little bit higher at 20. So I believe that's my A tier. It has to be.
That sounds like it.
Yeah, to me. That's my A tier. Is it your A tier?
That's my A tier.
Dope. We think this is an A movie, which is fun. It is an A movie. I think it's an A DCOM.
I would agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about this movie.
Definitely.
There's a lot it does right.
Yeah. And it's a musical, and the music is good.
The music is good.
Some of it's a little bit silly.
And some of it's just like filler. Yeah. But it's a good movie. We don't need to talk about it that much. We could have just done that. We could have just said it's good.
Bye. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for making it this far. Hopefully you also like Let It Shine.
Hi, this is Kelsey from the future. I'm editing the episode right now, and I realized we never did a kazoo bit. This is a musical episode, and we didn't do a single kazoo. So I'll be the first to say, Roxy, I'm sorry. Y'all deserve some kazoo. I know everyone is begging for it. So here's a little something something as a treat. Roxy, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And now we have to predict what our next movie is going to be before we spin the wheel.
Woo! I'm going to guess we're going to get another musical.
Another one?
We're going to get Freaky Friday.
That'd be fun. I'm going to guess Twitches.
Twitches?
Yeah. I've been kind of wanting to watch
spooky season.
I know. We need to get some spooky movies for spooky season. It's kind of become a tradition that we watch a Halloween Town movie on Halloween.
Well, yeah, you said you wanted to make that a tradition.
So we're going to do that, but it's too soon for that. So let's spin the wheel and see what we get. Boo.
Uh-oh.
It's Up, Up, and Away.
Okay, it can be much worse than Up.
I know, but I didn't really like this one. I know you guys liked it more than I did.
Well, maybe you'll come around.
Maybe I'll come around. I do remember some funny parts of this movie.
I think this is a film that kind of like suffers from just not having that much memorable about it.
I feel like this is the DCOM I forget about the most. Like, it doesn't feel like a DCOM to me.
There's some interesting stuff that's going on.
But like, who has ever heard of this DCOM?
No one talks about this.
No.
So if you want to hear us talk about it, tune in next time for Up, Up, and Away.
Yeah, tune in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about Up and Away.
Follow our podcast everywhere. You can probably find where we do stuff.
We make TikToks and stuff. You can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com. And yeah, thanks again for listening. See you in 2 weeks for Up, Up, and Away.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Scenes from our next episode.
Aw, my family's all superheroes, but I suck.
Oh, guys, I can totally fly, I promise. Throw soccer ball in a tree. That was me. I flew away.
Wow, he's so good. Hey, everybody, let's go do our superhero stuff.
I'm a superhero.
I totally have superpowers. I'm not lying about it.
I really don't remember how this movie ends. Does he ever get superpowers?
Guess you'll have to tune in next time on the magical episode of the DCOM Duo.